Every creator has a graveyard of unrealized projects. It could have been an idea that you had, it could have been an unwritten novel, it could have been like a business idea. I've had it happen in my own life when I was trying to work on a short film project. We've all got these projects that we wanted to get done, and then they ended up dying. Today, on this show, we're going to be exploring how to resurrect that idea, or maybe if you've got a brand new idea, to keep it out of that graveyard. We want to keep that idea alive. Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Kevin Gregg. I'm a creative writer, director, producer. I am here to help you get your creative work done and to get it to market, get it public, and get you so that you're in a place where you're making a thriving living from it. Thanks for visiting the channel. Yes, creative ideas. We've been talking about this stuff for the last couple of videos about how do I get a regular habit going for myself? How do I realize a creative idea? Today, I want to talk about if you get this spark or this idea or this thing that just feels like, yes, I'm going to totally do this. There's three reasons that a project can die all of a sudden, where you get this idea and then all of a sudden it just tanks. We're going to talk about what three of those reasons might be that cause an idea to completely tank. And we're going to talk about three countermeasures to that that can help you from avoiding that trap. The first thing that can happen with this, why projects fail, big one. And I've had this too, and I've talked about this. One of the projects that happened for me, this happened probably about, I'm going to say it's about 15, 16 years ago. There was a 30-day short film challenge that had been issued. And again, I was right in the beginning of trying to get, get my creative skills going, try to work on my filmmaking stuff. And I had this thing that was there and I said, hey, I think I'm going to participate in this challenge. So I quickly put together this idea and I was going to shoot it just a very simple one-day shoot that I was going to do in the house. And a number of things happened where it just all kind of fell apart and I got disheartened and I just went, what's the point? And looking back at that, I went on to go end up doing other, short films and other projects. But this one in particular, I want to bring up as an example because it was like, gosh, what went wrong there? And looking back at it, I just go, you know what? There's a couple of things that were going on. The first thing that can happen with you when you're working on a project that can cause it to tank is not having a real clear why as to why you're doing this, right? What is something that is really sparking you to kind of go, this is a strong enough why for me to get this done. I've had this happen in other areas of my life, right? I've shared it recently in videos that are on here. When I was getting involved in doing commercial work as an actor, had a very strong goal for myself, which is like, I can totally do this. And also, if I start doing these commercials, it will start bringing in income for my family, get me continued experience on camera, build my reel, and help me along my career path as an actor, right? And it's like, for me, very strong why, which is like, if I'm doing this, I'm actually, getting better at my craft. I'm getting better at the business, and I'm actually bringing in substantial income for my family, right? It's a very strong why. When it came to this project that I was working on, this short film thing, yes, I was okay. Was like, yeah, I think I got this, right? I think I know what it is that I want to do, but there wasn't really a strong enough why. So it was like all of a sudden it's just like, well, I think that this is something that I want to try. And yes, having that idea of trying it, that's a good thing, but it's like it has to be like aiming towards a purpose. I've had this happen, for example, in the past with learning Spanish, right? Trying to learn Spanish and just going, hey, that'd be a great thing for me to do. And next thing you know, you're getting the Duolingo app. And then, I was practicing it. I was doing the little exercises and practicing for about 18 months and like scoring and showing up and getting my habit and all this stuff and developing my vocabulary. But suddenly realizing like, why am I doing this? Right. And I had no clear goal or why. It was just like, well, this would be a neat thing to have. It's like, you got to be very specific. For an example like that with learning a second language, it's like, well, are you going to apply this specifically to new business endeavors, or are you going to be spending a significant time in a Spanish speaking country where you need to make sure that you have this skill, that you have it. If you're approaching things with sort of like a, yeah, I think I'll try this, if you're trying to approach something with that sort of intent, there's a good chance that that idea is just not going to get off the ground, right? The second thing that happens, which I'm talking about a little bit here, it's having sort of fuzzy plans with this and sort of false starts. If you get very broad and very generic about what it is that you're trying to do, you'll never hit the goal, right? You'll never hit the goal. For me, when it came to like doing commercial work, it was about I want to get very specific about I have to get, an agent. In order to get an agent, I need to make sure that I've got, you know, headshots and reels or whatever I can do, and then trying to make contacts so that this will lead to something, right? There was sort of a rough planning that was going to happen for me. Um, but in those situations, it was like, you know, any time that I wasn't doing something like, for example, with the short film stuff, it was like, well, I think here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab these things and grab this material and reach out to a couple of friends I know and see if maybe we can get together on something. And I was very not clear nor specific about what it was that I was trying to do. So the more unspecific that I am, how am I going to be able to communicate that to other people? This thing that I'm talking about, with like a very fuzzy plan or fuzzy start of how this is going to go, and then like hoping that we'll come together, that led to the third problem. So the first problem is you don't have a clear why. Second problem is you have kind of a fuzzy, generic plan of where you're going to go. And then the third problem that can happen is you start kind of doing public sharing with, you know, not in the right places. And you're not clear about it, and you might be sharing it with other people that, are going, "Huh? What are you doing that for?" Right? This is the thing that happened with me with this short film idea that I had. I kind of had this rough idea of what it was I wanted to do, but then I was sort of trying to share it with other people, and they were kind of going, "Well, what do we do? What's going to happen with that? Like, what's the purpose of it?" Right? And for me, I didn't even have the clarity or the strong why of going, "Hold on, if I do this, this gives me the practice that I need that will help me with filmmaking, video making, so then I can have this build up to something else." As I'm trying to communicate this to other people, I'm vague about it. And so I'm sharing it with other people that are just kind of like, well, what am I doing that for? Or why are you, what's the point of this? Right. And so as I started sharing this idea of this short film thing that I wanted to do, because I wasn't clear about it, and I was also sharing it with other people that weren't like on the same page or had other things that they were doing, all of a sudden the entire idea just tanked, right? And it was like, oh, you know what? Why bother, right? So I couldn't even get the idea off the ground. Now, in hindsight, the thing was is that it wasn't sparking me. I wasn't clear enough. I didn't have enough like, yes, this is it. This is leading to something else. And then I started sharing it, and because I was also just being very vague and unclear, it's almost like I was hoping for other people to do the work with inspiring me or light my fire, or all of a sudden it was like I was being reliant on other people to kind of help me get my torch lit. And it's like, what are you doing, man? I'm trying to think of like what a good analogy would be with that. It's like, it's almost like being out in the wilderness and you have to start a fire, and then the only thing that you do is you kind of show up with a couple of sticks, and then you just hope that somebody else will inspire, like something will come along and inspire you, and all of a sudden have the fire start. It's like, no, man, you got to make sure that you're bringing the right materials, and there's going to be focus and effort and all this stuff. And what are you doing it for? Right. Um, anyway, so those are the three major problems that can happen if you're having an idea that all of a sudden is going to just tank, right? It's just like you don't have a clear why about what you're doing. you're kind of fuzzy about what the plan is. And then you start kind of like publicly sharing or trying to share this with other people that like aren't on the same, they're just not on the same page with you or just not on the same direction. Or there's nothing that's going on with that that just goes, hey, that's great. Let's do, I'll help. Right. So those are three things. So what are the counters that you could do to this? All right. You find, let's do counters on each of those things. You don't have a clear why. Great. Find a non-negotiable why. You're finding something where you go, this is it. I feel like this idea or this plan has been put in my heart for a reason, and I'm going for this. I feel like this is the direction I need to do, and this is what I am hoping is the results of this. And fortunately, hopefully, it's something that is going to be tangible, something that's going to have results for you, right? So it's going to be something that's either helping you truly develop your skills to a purpose. This isn't about you having something that's like, oh, you know what? That'd be kind of neat. That'd be kind of fun. Can't be that. Can't be something that just feels like, oh, this would be kind of, I think this would be kind of a cool thing to do. It has to be something that you're looking at it and going, you know what? I think I can see a path towards what this is leading me towards. Even if this is something that doesn't bring me monetary gain, this is something where I am developing and growing and strengthening skills that I am going to need that's going to lead to other things in my life, right? This is part of the stuff that I'm doing here, even as I'm doing these podcasts or these YouTube videos. This really makes me realize like I need to be continually showing up on camera, learning how to edit. God willing, here over the next few months on this channel, you'll start seeing me incorporate other things like other cameras, other camera angles, different editing techniques. I have to start experimenting with this stuff because this is becoming almost an absolutely non-negotiable thing that exists in this industry that I'm in. You have to be able to clearly express yourself, show up on camera, so I have to be showing up and doing these videos and learning how to edit and learning how to do it in a quick turnaround time so that this isn't something that draws out because I know that all of this stuff will eventually lead towards strengthening skills for myself and will eventually benefit myself and my family long term and also benefit you guys that are on the other end. So I've got very strong whys for myself. What is that with you? What is that with you with your project of going, this is why I want to do the project. I remember years ago, like being back in school. This is when I was first studying to be an actor. And, we'd have these moments with different students where you're talking to people and just going, hey, why do you want to be an actor? I remember this one guy, I just want to be famous. I just want to be famous and I just want to make money. Okay. Well, I mean, if that is your why about making a lot of money, then get into something that's about business or specifically money oriented, right? Of just going, all right, then that's the deal. Having this idea of just like, well, I want to be famous and make money, and if you're doing that in the creative arts, it's like it's not impossible to do it, but that's a very vague thing, which leads to my second point. You have to have a at least a very rough plan of where you're going to go. And it should be something that should be kind of, even if it's just a rough three-step plan that you have. Okay. And starting with what your specific end is that you're hoping to achieve with this. Have kind of a rough idea of where it is that you're trying to get to with what you're trying to accomplish. And then at least taking a midpoint that you're trying to get to. Okay, if I'm trying to get to this, which is like I want to have a 15-minute narrative video that I put on YouTube. Okay, that's what that looks like. So in order to do that, I have to have a rough idea of like how long would that take me if I'm going to produce it with the editing and all that stuff and with the shooting. How many different locations do I need? Is this something that I can do with one location? If I do it with one location, how many days would I need to shoot that? Okay. If I could do that, and again, you're sort of working backwards on all this stuff. And I'm just doing this off the top of my head. You're thinking to yourself, okay, well, then I need at least 3 days of shooting. If I've got at least two actors in this, We need to make sure that we're doing this over, maybe 2 or 3 nights that we're shooting. Great. Capture the footage. Now I realize when I've got the footage, it's going to take me a while in order to get all the stuff together and edited and making sure that I'm refining it and getting it, ready to air. So, it's a multi-step thing. And you can also put in a hard deadline for yourself to go, great, I want to make a 15-minute narrative short video. So this is something that I'm going to have accomplished realistically within like the next 2 months. Okay, great. So that means a month out, I need to be in the editing process, which means, you're working all of it backwards. So you have sort of a rough plan for yourself. And if you're getting it that way, that's great. Leads to the third thing, right? If you're going to do this, so you've got a non-negotiable why. This is exactly what I'm doing this and why. You've got a generalized rough plan to go, here's what I'm trying to aim for. Here's a deadline I'm trying to aim for. I'm working this out backwards. And then the third thing is when you don't have to you don't have to share this in public, okay? Like I get it if this is part of the process that you're documenting yourself along it, but I wouldn't be announcing things generally. Hey everybody, I'm here on Instagram. I'm letting you know that 2 months from now I'm gonna have this thing, right? I think that you're opening yourself up to too many people that get, first of all, you get trolls that can come along and just kind of go, yeah, sure you are. You don't want to get in a habit of announcing stuff publicly and then when things start to fall apart, then just kind of going, oh, I got to backtrack. How am I going to get this all together? You want to make sure that you're sharing this with the right tight circle of people, right? Who are other people that you know in your immediate circle that are trying to do something similar or that are looking to get benefits. And whenever I'm working on a project, and especially if it's a collaborative project, I'm always trying to make sure that there's going to be an exchange, a back and forth that happens. Even if I can't give them money for it, that it's going to be something that's going to be worth their time and their effort. Big thing for me, whenever I'm directing and working with actors and I don't have a large budget, I make sure that I'm so careful and precious with their time because I've had this done to me in the past where I've had people say, oh, yeah, be in this project. And the next thing you know, you're sitting on a set for 2, 3 days, 12, 13, 14 hours, completely unorganized. And they're only using you for like 10 to 15% of the time that you've been on these sets. Not cool, right? So for me, I always make sure whenever I'm bringing somebody in that it's to their benefit all around, even if I can't give them the type of money that I wish that I could be giving them, that I'm showing them some sort of a compensation, even if it's by honoring their time and also making sure that I'm getting the material to them, right? So if I'm going to do that, I'm making sure that I'm finding other people that are in the same sphere, all right? So it's huge. So if there's any sort of public sharing, it's really not a broad general public sharing. It's sharing with key people that I know that we're on the same page with doing that. So these are three major things that you can do to make sure that if you've got this idea that it's not going to tank, that it's not going to end up in a graveyard where it's like, oh gosh, well, I guess I got to put that one on the shelf. It's never going to happen, right? And we can't have too many of these happening in our lives because if we have too many of these happening in our lives, we start to build up again this graveyard of ideas. And all you're looking at is just like the death of unrealized things. This is why specifically I created Working Creatives over at workingcreatives.com. We address so many of these issues that we're talking about. Getting very clear about your why, trying to make a specific plan for yourself so that you can kind of like say, I want to accomplish this. How do I get it done? And making a rough plan for yourself that you follow. And then you're around other like-minded people that are also doing it. It may not be in the same medium, but there's something about being around other people who are also on the same path that starts to invigorate you and starts when you start seeing other people accomplish stuff, it causes things to happen in the back of your mind of going, okay, if they're doing it, I can do it. And also getting the encouragement from the right people that are going to come in and go, hey, you're on track. Maybe here's a couple of things that you can do to workshop this or to figure this out. If this sounds like it's going to be something that helps you, you got to join us over at workingcreatives.com. It's a great community that we're building right now. And I want to help you so that you're getting your work done and eventually getting it out and completed and figuring out how to monetize it. That's what we're going to be doing in this community. So you need to join that. Don't let your ideas go to the side. Don't let them go to that graveyard where they're never going to resurrect again. You want to make sure that you're in a place of seeing those ideas, those sparks that you have get fully realized and make sure that you're just going, yeah, I feel like this is something that I'm supposed to be doing. And there's a long term benefit that's going to happen for myself, for my friends, and my family. I got to get this done. We'll help you over at Working Creatives. So make sure that you visit us over there, workingcreatives.com. Hey, do me a favor. If you found that this video helped you today and you want to be getting more videos that will help you get your creative work done, encourage you, inspire you, please do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe. This is the channel to come to so that you get that inspiration so you continue doing your creative work, getting it out into the world. God put that on your heart and in your mind for a reason, and he needs you to use it specifically for his glory, his purpose, and his kingdom. So, thanks for joining me here on this show, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.